Time is just gone 11 minutes to 9 a.m. and looking ahead at the local elections. And one area that I am keeping my eye open on is in the KwaZulu-Natal area. And the reason why I am doing is we've been speaking to a number of people over the years who have been actively involved in their communities. When we're talking about social activism, it provides true meaning to the word. And over the years, we've spoken to people like Imtiaz Sayed, like Mohammed Batman Ismail, like Bilal Adamji, and many of the social activists in that part of the world. Now, they've come together, they've formed what is called the Active Citizens Coalition, and they are making their presence felt in the elections that are coming up on the 1st of November. And yesterday, we learned about the Manifesto launch of the Active Citizens Coalition. And that is the reason why we are talking to and joined by one of the members of the Active Citizens Coalition, Mohammed Batman Ismail. Mohammed, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah for having me on air again.
Yes, Jazakallah to you for joining us. And as I pointed out, an area that I'm particularly interested in is what is taking place in your part of the world, looking at the ACC in particular. And yesterday, the manifesto was launched. And if you could just take us through some of the key issues, the salient points that are contained in your manifesto.
Okay, thanks for that, Inayet. Basically, what we are saying in our executive summary, it's very easy to understand, and we're speaking to the people here. We're going back to, the real cause and effect of what's happening in the communities and why the people need to understand what the ACC stands for. And, one of the things we're talking about is mobilization of a sort of a lost generation. And we're talking about the truism, bringing back the truism in politics. And we're also talking about the ACC being a frame of mind, where you have an attitude that when you lead something and you run it correctly, you then get a positive effect on what you would want in terms of change. So we ask the basic questions as why is community development not happening? How do we proceed forward? Who do we lean on? And how do we secure a future of our children? Because it's very, very important. And if you don't look at that, things fall apart at the seams. And where are we heading to as people in our communities? And so we're addressing the very salient points in our constitution on the issues of electricity, water, rates, job creation and employment, homelessness and environment, because the environment is very impactful in terms of crime and build-up of pollution in the areas. Parks and recreation, what's happening with parks and recreation, or parks, for example. Parks should be a safe haven for communities where children go in and play, where parents and relatives can have a picnic where children are playing on the swings and on the slides. And so you don't see that anymore. Why? Because of the effects of crime, the effects of drugs. There's a whole lot of effects. So we're looking at returning things to normality at a point. Then ward, community, and youth development, social cohesion is another important thing, especially after the recent unrest. Public relations or community relations, where are we with that right now? And that needs to be improved. And something I think that's often ignored is the inclusion of people with physical and intellectual disabilities, where they seem to be a forgotten aspect or decision makers in the community. And we tend to have this notion that we as able-bodied people or we as representatives of anybody and anything speak on your behalf. We need to change that mindset, and that's why we're saying that ACC is a frame of mind, because you need to speak on your behalf. And we need to set up structures where people, for example, again, like people with intellectual and physical disabilities now have a voice. They are their own advocates, not us. We can set up the structures and you guys must take it over. And then social development and outreach, community economic development is very, very strategic. And again, the issues of safety and security and well-being. And along with the environment, one thing that also tends to get forgotten is recycling. And through recycling programs and processes, you then create employment and indirect employment for many, many others. So there's lots of tiers that we can, that we can speak to and work on and take it from there. So that's why we in our manifesto, we got in a very important aspect to make people understand why. It's to inspect, understand, and then rectify through those structures.
Yes, Mohammed. Now, also, I am certain that a lot of thought has gone into the drafting of the manifesto in listing the issues that the ACC wants to achieve. But also, what is more important is these are practical issues, and looking at the people that you've chosen as your candidates. These are people, these are household names that people are used to, they become accustomed with in terms of providing whatever services individuals have done over the years in their individual capacities as organizations as well. And I think that is absolutely important because these are people that are very, very close to the communities that they will be serving once they get elected.
Yes, you see the people that we've put out there, the people that we've sort of or were nominated. What the thing is that you had to have some kind of inkling into what your organization is about or what you stand for or where you are. Because what happens is that if you don't have the knowledge of your community, why would you want to stand as a candidate? Do you want to learn, or do you want to just be there for the sake of being there? So you need to sort of separate the two issues. But we welcomed everybody, and we had people coming to us to say, I want to make a difference, and I want to make change, and help me and teach us. And we don't know anything. I said, don't worry, we also don't know anything, but come along. And then you get the more household names, like for example, our candidate in Wadee, Saint Susiwala, and a whole lot of others who have been making the difference. Like in Chatsworth, we've got Pastor Michelle. We've got Pastor Michelle in that area, and then Phoenix we've got people like Alice who have been doing the work. So they deserve to be on a platform where they can speak with a political voice, and that is important because what we are saying now, we are not politicians, we are activists more than politicians because we have to be activists first. You need to know what's happening in your community. You can't just wake up and say, I want to be a politician because you know nothing. It's a process and procedures. Even Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, they were activists first before they became politicians. And if anybody comes to us and I'm a seasoned politician, I will tell you, the seasoning is wrong because you don't really know what you want in the community. The seasoning needs to change. So that's where we are as the Citizens Coalition. Inshallah, making a difference, going to be making a difference. And we want people to understand why we're there, the space that we're speaking from, where we came from ethically secure, where we could speak about certain things and we couldn't speak about other issues. And now we're going to be making those differences. So come 1st of November, I'm saying that we are the only party in your communities that you should be voting for.
Well, certainly, Mohammed, and also I think what I like what you're saying, about not being politicians, because what you find with many of the political parties, they put the interest of the political party first before people, and we've seen this over and over again, and that obviously has severely impacted negatively in many aspects when it comes to community matters, when it comes to issues like service delivery.
Yes, absolutely. Inayet, what I'm excuse me. What we're saying is, I was on the debate on I think it was on one of the other TVs also, and one of the candidates there saying, no, you know what, I'm ready to be the mayor, and I put on the mayoral chain and everything else, and that's stuck in my mind. And I'm saying, are you thinking of yourself or are you thinking of the people? Because if you're thinking of the people, you're not going to be talking about. We haven't portrayed anybody as a mayoral candidate because we don't want to set ourselves up for failure or anything in that respect. We are activists and we're going to remain activists. If we win the elections, alhamdulillah, whoever we decide can be mayor, can be mayor. That's separate. That's not our focus. Our focus is the people and not the glory that others might seek. So that's a very, very important thing that people need, listeners need to understand. And that is the reason why we're not feeling a mayoral candidate, as it were, because we want to do the work in the communities. We need to roll up our sleeves as we have all along. But we're speaking with a stronger voice now, where we can do what needs to be done.
Well, looking forward to that, and I'm sure over the next month or so, we will be engaging a lot more with yourself and some of your candidates as well. And but for now, Mohammed, we have run out of time. As always, we appreciate, we thank you and your team for always being willing and coming and talking to us here on Salam Media. We wish you all the best, inshallah. Allah make it easy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was Mohammed Batman Ismail on the Manifesto launch of the Active Citizens Coalition. And they have fielded many candidates right across KwaZulu-Natal in this year's local government elections. Now, before we head for the news, just an announcement that I need to make. Tonight, Halqatul Quran, and that is bringing you Quran reciters and scholars from around the world. And tonight at 7 p.m., this program is brought to you by Africa Muslim Agency. And looking at the guests tonight on the program, we have got Sheikh Mustafa Al-Zain out of Egypt. We've got Qari Ibrahim Ramadan out of Tanzania. We've got Sheikh Badiul Zaman Kader from Cape Town and Hafiz Rais Hussein from Cape Town. So we certainly have got a power-packed lineup on this Thursday night, on this night of Jummah, on Halqatul Quran. So make sure that you will be tuning live. It will be on our Facebook page. It will be on our YouTube channel as well. And that is taking place at 7 p.m. And this program is brought to you by Africa Muslims Agency.